Galimat with all friends online.
Maulana Mother,
Malali Madad Meru. Shukran Lillah walhamdulillah. Welcome to our study of book What is Soul? So let us start with some zikr and Giriya Uzari, seeking Mawla's help. We all are walking on this journey of true knowledge and we seek Mawla's madad to help us walk fast. Let me read this qasida about ilmi safar, praise of and motivation to journey for knowledge. It is very easy to become demotivated when we are walking on the journey of knowledge. Suddenly our world pulls us towards it. Something happens and we get demotivated. Somehow some project is started at work and now our priorities have changed. So need to continue to pray that Mawla, keep my curiosity high, keep me motivated, grant me physical, spiritual, intellectual health, that I continue to walk fast on this journey. So here it is, praise of and motivation to journey for true knowledge. The journey of knowledge is very long. The journey of knowledge is very long, so continue to walk fast. Full of peace is this path. Do not fear. Continue to walk fast. Seek high ambition always from your Lord. Do not tarry, do not delay. Continue to walk fast. Our precious life is for the sake of knowledge alone. Our precious life is only for the sake of knowledge alone. Travel on the paths of knowledge, continue to walk fast. Consider this true knowledge to be divine treasure. What is this knowledge? Divine treasure. Do not tarry in this journey. Continue to walk fast. There is no treasure without hardship in this entire world. Whatever we need in this world, without hard work, one cannot get it. So how and why do we expect to get this knowledge easily? Why do we take religious education for granted, as if it is not our duty? It is the duty of all others to give it to us ready-made in the plate. There is no treasure without hardship in this entire world. Wherever there is the treasure, trove of wisdom, continue to walk fast. To every traveler for knowledge, Nasir continued to say, O fortunate one, O fortunate traveler, continue to walk fast. So those who become interested in true knowledge and they really make this an intention, an ambition to learn this true knowledge, walk on this path, climb up the ladder, they surely are the fortunate one. This world is full of humans. Among all humans there are smileys, the whole Jamaat. And from that smiley Jamaat, how many of those are interested in true knowledge? And then there are those who attend session to feel good. Yes, it makes us feel good. But after 30 minutes or an hour, they forget all about it. But then there are ones who will go back, do the reading, reflect, write notes, re-listen, think, work on that knowledge. To them, it is being said, "O fortunate one, O fortunate traveler, continue to walk fast." है दूर बहुत इल्मी सफर तेज चला चल, तेज चला चल, पुरअमन है ये राह न डर, तेज चला चल, तेज चला चल. Why would we say that this path is full of peace? Can one imagine that on the path of learning knowledge there would be no peace? But what happens when we are walking on this path? Shaitan gives us doubt. For example, I'm too old to learn. I do not know this language. It is too much work to do. I don't want to do that. I don't have time. What I'm doing in my physical world is much more important than this. So many reasons of, given by Shaitan, he takes away our peace. But those who are able to bypass these doubts, these thoughts, and they believe that this journey is full of peace, they continue to walk fast. Do not let Shaitan overpower you. When you are seeking true knowledge, when you are working hard, this is the right path. This is going to take us close to our Imam. Because in the true knowledge, it is the divine treasure. The true knowledge is the divine treasure. And when the Prophet was asked, why did God created this world? Why did he send us down? What was the reason? And you know what Prophet Muhammad said? Allah is hidden treasure and he wanted to be recognized. And recognition does not come without true knowledge. So Alhamdulillah, Mubarakbad to each and every one of you who are here, taking out time to seek true knowledge. Shukran lillah walhamdulillah. Hasbunallah wa ni'mal wakeel wa ni'mal mawla wa ni'mal nasir. Hasbunallah wa ni'mal wakeel wa ni'mal mawla wa ni'mal nasir. Hasbunallah wa ni'mal wakeel wa ni'mal mawla wa ni'mal nasir. Hasbunallah wa ni'mal wakeel wa ni'mal mawla wa ni'mal nasir. Hasbunallah wa ni'mal wakeel wa ni'mal mawla wa ni'mal nasir. Hasbunallah wa ni'mal wakeel ونعم المولى ونعم النصير. حسبنا الله ونعم الوكيل ونعم المولى ونعم النصير. حسبنا الله ونعم الوكيل ونعم المولى ونعم النصير. حسبنا الله ونعم الوكيل ونعم المولى ونعم النصير. Hasbunallah wa ni'mal wakeel wa ni'mal mawla wa ni'mal nasir. Hasbunallah wa ni'mal wakeel wa ni'mal mawla wa ni'mal nasir. Shukran lillah walhamdulillah. Shukran lillah walhamdulillah. Once again, Yali Madad to all friends online, and we are gathered here to study our book, What is Soul? And today we are going to study questions 75 and 79. And the reason is that they are related to the question which we covered last time. So before we go into question number 75, let's quickly review the question 70 few points. We talked about jinn being hidden, subtle, spiritual, we are not able to see. They are latif, meaning subtle, transparent, versus the physical body, which is kasif, right, which is dense. We also have talked about that jinn are both male and female. Jinn are beautiful, they are not ugly. It is only in fairy tales that they've been given that picture, but in reality, jinns are beautiful and they are not ugly. And we have taken the example of worm, which is dense, it's crawling on the floor, cannot even stand up or walk. But look at the transformation a worm goes through. The worm actually becomes moth and he flies. How can a worm which is crawling on the floor can fly? No one can imagine looking at that status, that condition of worm. One can walk, crush it. It's like incapable, no way possible that a crawling worm can fly. But it is truly a miracle of Allah that the worm which is crawling on the floor becomes moth and starts flying. And then from that flying moth, it lays eggs. And again, the worms are born. This indicates to us a cycle. From density, there is subtlety. And from the subtlety, there is again density. There is no beginning, there is no end. It is all circular. It's all going on. Constant transformation is happening. And we as humans, today we are in dense body. But if we were to be in spiritual cycle, we are in physical cycle, but if we were to be in spiritual cycle, this dense body will transform into subtle body, Nurani Badan. And very interestingly, this happens in varied degrees, in very varying stages. And we all know, we talk about angels, jinns, and devils. Angels are good for sure. Devils are bad. Devils are bad. Shaitan is bad. Jinn are good as well as bad, just like human beings. There are humans who are really good, there are humans who are bad too. And very interestingly, Iblis. Iblis is the name of the chief of the Shaitan. All the devils combined together, the Sardar of the Shaitan is Iblis. And I'm going to add here more. The books of our Buzurgwar-e-Din actually gives us the name of this Iblis. And his name was Haris bin Marrah. His name was Haris bin Marrah. Now, when I'm giving you the name, one can ask, what do you mean? How can you have the name? Was he a human? What do you think? We just talked about that being humans, we are in dense body. When one transforms, they can become subtle body. And it is a circle of transformation which is constantly going on. So let's now read the question 75 and we'll continue to talk about it. So the title of the question is Circle of Subtle and Dense Cycle. And the question reads, the Holy Quran says that before mankind, God created jinns from fire, and is referring to verse 15 by 27. But according to your ta'wil, in answer to question 70, angels, jinns, and devils are created from mankind. Please explain to us how it is possible. So if we were to get that answer, we will surely get the answer here too. That how come Iblis, we knew, who we know as a Shaitan, He had a name too. So was he a human? And that's what this question is about, referring to this Quranic verse. So let's look at this Quranic verse. And the jinn we created before from scorching fire. And the jinn we created before from scorching fire. और उससे पहले जिन्नात को हमने लौ वाली आग से पैदा किया. And when he answers, he talks about these 2 points, the word before and fire. And remember, when we read the questioner, whoever asked this question, that person said that before mankind, God created jinn from fire. So we are going to focus on these keywords. What does before mean here? Now, before meaning that there is a beginning, before. But in reality, in Ismaili Tariqa, we now know there is no before. There is no beginning, there is no end. There is only circle. And another thing which we know for sure, that Allah has created everything in there. Everything created are in pairs. Like for example, after a day, there is night. But then the day will come again. And that cycle will continue to go on, day and night, day and night, day and night. Similarly, if there is a physical cycle or physical life, then there has to be spiritual cycle. If one has a dense body, it can be transformed into subtle body. Surely there are conditions. But this is constantly going on. Now, when we talk of transformation, remember that everything happens in steps. So when a dense body is transforming into subtle body, one can become angel, one can become jinn, and one can choose to become shaitan too. And Haris bin Marra is an example for all of us. Iblis, he is an example for all of us. So remember, angels are good, shaitan or devil is all bad. Jinn can be good as well as bad. Whereas angels are always good. And same is for human, they are good as well as bad. Now, the next key word is fire. Fire means here subtlety, latafat. When the spiritual cycle comes, then those who are highest in their knowledge and in their deeds, good deeds, they become angels. But remember, again, there are varying degrees. Depends on what? Depends on their knowledge and their good deeds. Those who are in the middle, they become jinn. Again, in different grades. There are always steps, there's always a ladder, remember that. Those who are wicked will become shaitan, devils. So again, if you want to understand how, we will have to go back and remember the example of worm being dense, kasif. But kasif becomes latif, dense becomes subtle. How? Due to transformation. But then, after becoming subtle, the moth lays eggs, and then there is again density. So it is happening in circle. Let us understand that more through this slide. So if we are looking at this circle, this is the physical world and this is the spiritual world. And this is constantly going on. There is no beginning, there is no end. It is constantly going on and on and on. And that's what we believe in Ismaili Tariqa, in cycles, in circle. Now let us take the example of Hazrat Adam and his companions. When if you were to study Quran, you will read that before going to paradise, Adam and his companions actually had dense body. And in process of going to paradise, they transformed themselves and they became subtle. Now one may ask, how did they become subtle? We all know how. How? We just mentioned highest in knowledge and good deeds. So therefore we do use that term, zikr ibadat, ilm amal. So zikr, which is 23 hours, ibadat, which is at Nurani time, through knowledge, and amal. Amal is very broad term. Good deeds, pure heart, clean heart, payment of the sawm, doing khidmat. It's very encompassing word. It's very broad term. So ilmu amal, zikr ibadat with giriya uzari. And they transformed themselves to go to paradise because they became settled. They all acquired Nurani Badan. They all merged themselves in Imam, Hanafil Imam. Again, when they were sent down from paradise, they became all dense. And then when they returned back, they became all settled again. Again, what are we saying here? We are saying that it shows continuity in the process. It is in circular form. It is happening. Now, when this was happening, Adam, the name of Adam was Takum bin Bajla. Adam is a title. Adam is not the name. Adam is the title. The way Iblis is actually a title. The name of the Iblis is Haris bin Marra. So Iblis was Haris bin Marra. Adam, if we take the last Adam from our cycle, 7,000 years before, current cycle, his name was Takhum bin Bajra. Adam is Serendipi, is his title. So when Adam was given Isme Azam by the Imam of that time, what had happened? Adam was so pious, he worked so hard, he completed his Isme Azam within 40 days. And Adam was mustajib. He was not a scholar, he was not a rich guy, he was a very simple farmer, poor guy, but very staunch Mormon. Within 40 days, he completed his Azam. And from Mustajib, he became Mazun, he became Dai, he kept on climbing the ladder very, very fast. Now here, Harith bin Marrah, who was a very high grade angel at that time. What had happened? We all know the story. He said, this Adam who is made from soil, why would I bow down to him? I am made from fire. So what is this fire? Now I hope that we all understand when we talk of fire and mitti, we do know that it refers to Hudud-e-Din. The concept of Hudud-e-Din is very important. Surely we are still learning about it because it's a very broad concept. And currently it's in Batin, it's not in Zahir. Imam has merged all the ranks within himself. But we do need to understand because Hudud-e-Din is a ladder. And understanding the ladder, identifying the steps will tell us how we do need to climb up. And very humbly, I say that yes, this Nachiz is Mustajib trying to climb the ladder with your prayers. So Haris bin Marra was a very high ranking angel. He said, I am made of fire, meaning what? That there is a soil. When that soil accepts the water, meaning says, yes, I do want to learn the true knowledge, becomes clay, becomes moldable. And then the journey keeps going on. And one can become angel and climb the ladder up. So here what we are talking about, that Adam, who was Takhum bin Bajla, he went through this cycle. And surely Adam is not one, because Adam is a title, Adam is a seat. So when I say that Adam came with his companion, he was in paradise, he came down, he went back, it's the title, because in our tariqah, we believe in cycles. 1,000 cycles, 7,000 cycles, then another 7,000 cycles, then another 7,000 cycles. Cycles are constantly going on. And each cycle has its own Adam. So the last cycle Adam was Takhum bin Bajla, and Iblis' name was Haris bin Marra. Interesting point which I would like to emphasize, that how important it is to stay humble. Haris bin Marra, who had so much of knowledge. Remember that verse we continue to mention, last time also we mentioned, Chhatris karor kitaba padya, bhitar bhed na paya. That he was such a high-ranking angel, but he did not get the essence, the farman bardai. And what had happened? He became arrogant and he fell down. Whereas Adam continued to be very humble. So here, with the example of Adam, what we are understanding, wisdom of circle, that it is continuous process. Now the question 79 actually, very interestingly, it again asks to elaborate on the concept of worm and moth in the light of Quran. And then in answer he mentions 6 days. So I quoted this reference of Quran chapter 11 verse 7, that Allah created the heavens and the earth in 6 days, and his throne had been upon water. We all know when we read water, it is through knowledge, that he might test you as to which of you is best indeed. And I've added here knowledge, because without knowledge one would not know what are good deeds. But if you say indeed you are resurrected after that, those who disbelieve will surely say this is not but obvious magic. So surely this part we are not talking about, we are talking about the first 2 lines from this verse, that Allah created the world in 6 days. Now very interestingly, when we understand the ta'wil of these 6 days, Allah talks about in Quran that his 1 day is equal to 1,000 human years. And then our Buzurgwari Deen has mentioned that the day means the day of a natik. And we do know our 6 natiks, which equals to 6 days of Allah. And very interestingly, let me tell you this too today, that when we read here heavens and earth, it actually, the ta'wil of heavens and earth is hudud-e-deen. And inshallah, when we talk of hudud-e-deen more in detail, we'll talk about it. But here now what we are saying, that Allah actually created this physical world and the religious world. In the religious world, hudud-e-deen in 6 days, during the times of 6 natiks. And these natikan are Adam, Hazrat Noah, Hazrat Ibrahim, Hazrat Musa, Hazrat Isa, and Hazrat Muhammad. So Allah has created this universe within 6 days. And those 6 days in the world of religion are these 6 exalted personalities. Then he talks about chapter 23, 12/4. And he's giving this reference, men we did create from a quintessence of clay, extract of clay. Then we placed him as sperm in a place of rest, firmly fixed. Then we made the sperm into a clot of congealed blood. Then of that clot we made a lump. Then we made out of that lump bones and clothed the bones with flesh. Then we developed out of it another creature. So blessed be Allah, the best to create. What a beautiful verse. It talks about 6 stages in which the humans are developed. The first is sulala. extract of clay, and then it is made into sperm, and that sperm is rested in a firm place in the uterus as a little lump, fetus. In Arabic is mudghah, and then surely the baby develops bones and then flesh. However, then Allah says, so this at the stage of flesh, this is the complete man in dense body, living the life in the worldly life. But Allah doesn't stop there. After the flesh, then He says, then we developed out of it another creature. So blessed be Allah, the best to create. God created another creation, Khalq-e Akhir. Khalq-e Akhir, the last creation. And what is that? Subtle body. Creation of Jussa-e Ibdaya. There are so many names. Nurani Badan, Maula says in his Farman. It's the same word, same meaning. Celestial body, Jussa-e Ibdaya, Nurani Badan, all these are different names. Heavenly body, all these are same, referring to same thing. And then, very interestingly, there is another verse he mentions, 56/36, in which it says, and we made them virgin. And surely it's talking about the Hur, the women of heavens who are virgins. But before we go there, let's come back here, the subtle body. So every human being is made through this same process, sperm, ovum, fetus, bones, flesh. And everybody lives this life in the worldly life. But Allah's creation, the transformation is not ended or completed. The expectation is that we all get to subtle body. Now that understanding, that knowledge, it comes to those who have knowledge and are good in deeds. So what happens? They intentionally work to become subtle body. And here somebody asked me a question from Farman book, and I was reading, and I thought I'll share with you this Farman. It is in Urdu, and I would like to read it. This is the Farman from Ruhani Roshni, which is published by Karachi Itra Board, Kachmandra, November 17th, 1903. Maulana Sultan Muhammad Shallah Muhammad Muhammad. मौला says फरिश्ते के काम ये हैं कि खराब काम के बदले नेकी के अच्छे काम करें. Angels are those, angels' work is such that instead of working bad, they've been given bad work, but they do instead good work. They do not cheat, they do not lie, they keep their eyes clean, and if somebody seeks their help, they are always there to serve them. They work good, and in addition to that, they come to Jamaat Khana to say dua so that your iman stays firm and strong. And if you were to walk against that, meaning if you are deceiving, you're working in deceit, you're deceiving people, you won't come to Jamaat Khana to say dua, you will not do bandagi, then your heart will not stay on Sat Panth Deen. Now pay attention. Maula is saying Firishte ke kaam. He is actually telling us that we being in this human body, dense body, we have to behave like an angel. And we all know other farmans where he has said that you have two directions in front of you. You can choose to become an animal, go down, or you can choose to become an angel. So what I'm telling you, sharing you, it's not absolutely unknown to you. Imam Sultan Muhammad Shah, the Imam of time of Qiyamah, he has actually told us that we have this path in front of us to become an angel. So Imam had actually already told us that you are in physical life, the insan sarup macho. You're in human form, but your life doesn't end there. Your work doesn't end there. You need to continue to elevate further. Meaning what? Become an angel. Now, angels have degrees too, depending on who is good in their knowledge and their good deeds. They continue to climb the ladder up. To do what? To become the Khalke Akhir, the last creation, which is subtle body. And it is through subtle body. Imam has said that if you want to go to Jannat, you can only go in your Nurani Badan. So if the one Momin Salik desires to be fana in Imam, the only way to be fana is to become an angel. So what does it mean to become an angel? We just read what Imam's expectations are from angels. Now, we were talking about jinns too. So remember from last class to this class, jinn are those humans who have acquired this ability through ilmu amal, zikro ibadat, with girya uzari, to have the skill of flying, to become invisible, to traveling in different souls, to help them, to guide them, to give them strength, because they've gotten that spiritual power. And when they continue to walk on this path of seeking knowledge, continue to do good deeds, they continue to climb the ladder up and up and up. And then, remember, we learn from examples. Continue to climb up, staying very humble. You know it, but you don't say that you know it. Let those people who are judgmental judge you. It does not matter. You know in your heart who you are, what your deeds are. Nobody knows it. It does not matter. Momin knows that my Mawla watches me all the time. So what happens? The Momin Salik has the direct communication with his Imam. And that Momin stays humble. And the best example of humility is Adam. He was not an academician, he was not a scholar, he was not worldly wise, educated very well, very humble human being, but staunch believer. And look at him, how high did he climb? Now, when I say that he was not educated in the worldly books, in religious books, in the Talimat of Quran and Tawil, he was a learned. And how did he learn that? Surely in his personal world. And if someone does do the research, believe me, you will find astonishing understanding of Adam. So the story of Adam is very special in Quran. So the example of Adam is the most important example. It teaches us humility. It gives us hope that anyone with any limitations, if they are firm believer and they are willing to do the hard work, Adam was a very hard-working moment. They can complete their time, achieve the objective during their physical lifetime, and they become subtle. They acquire this Nurani Badan. So Rumi says, beautiful verse of Rumi, E pisar andar sifre haftumin, bamalaik barha parida am, O son, in the seventh heaven. Several times I have flown with the angels. Rumi was an Arif. He had a marifat. He did receive Ismi Azam from Shams. And he had elevated himself. His poetry tells us what he wrote. And he was an Arif. He knew Imam in his personal world. So he, being not even smiling, he says that I have flown with angels. And he's traveled to seventh heaven. He's in physical world writing this poetry, telling his son. So is it only possible for him, not for the smiling Momini who have Ismi Azam from Imam, who are followers of Mawla? Each one of us has the same potential. Now, very interestingly, in Quran, this verse 57/28, it says, "O you who have believed, fear Allah. Believe in His Messenger. He will give you a double portion of His mercy." Not single portion, double portion of His mercy. "And make for you a light." Make for you a light by which you will walk, and forgive you. And Allah is forgiving and merciful. ए वो लोगो जो ईमान लाए हो, अल्लाह से डरते रहो, उसके रसूल पर ईमान लाओ, अल्लाह तुम्हें अपनी रहमत का दोहरा हिस्सा देगा और तुम्हें नूर देगा जिसकी रोशनी में तुम चलोगे, और तुम्हारे गुनाह भी माफ फरमा देगा। अल्लाह बख्शने वाला मेहरबान है. So very interestingly, this verse, it says, He will give you a double portion. Now, I don't understand this double portion. What does that mean? And then He says, so that you would walk in the light which He will give you. Now, is Allah talking here of a torch, that in my torch, I have my torch and I can walk, I can see my path? But then double mercy doesn't make sense. What does that mean? The ta'wil here is that Allah will give those mu'mineen who are walking, who are not standing, who are walking, the light and the double portion of mercy, meaning that they will have this ability to fly, not only walk as human, but become a jinn, pari, angel, and they'll be flying. Just like Rumi, who flew to seventh heaven. And not only that he saw himself flying, he had companions too. He was seeing other angels too. So we are not the only ones who are doing that. There are mu'minins. So here, double mercy is that for mu'min salik, it's not the physical walk. And surely it's not a physical walk here. It is the walk of a mu'min salik on the path of Sirat al-Mustaqim. Because if it were to be physical walk, then everybody is walking in this physical world, and they would have lamp or torch or light. But this is not a physical walk or physical light we are talking about. It is the walk of the Mu'min Salik, meaning those who do not stand of Sirat al-Mustaqim, they continue to walk further in the given light. Because they are seekers, they are seeking the light, and when they are seeking the light, Mawla forgives them their sins, helps them, and gives them double mercy. Why? Because they are believers. They fear Allah. They do not fear people. One of this friend called me and talked about being invited and going there and having such a bad time, felt all worn out, drained, because they were all worldly people. Whatever she had collected in her, spiritual account, everything was emptied. And then I, referred that farman to her, saying that जिस तरह से इंसान अपनी दौलत की हिफाजत करता है, मोमिन अपने ईमान की हिफाजत करता है. A human, the way he takes care of his treasure, his money, his saving, his bank, his belongings, a momin safeguards his iman. Why? Because it's important that we continue to collect, go further and further and further. Remember Imam Sultan Muhammad Shah, what he said, that if you walk one step ahead, then you go backward 3 steps. Then when would you reach your destination? So a Mu'min Salik who's walking, he's very careful. He do not want to be in the company of people who will steal his earnings. A Mu'min is very hushiyar. He will not be sitting, he will not be friends with those people who are just there to steal money. Why? He doesn't fear people. Let them judge, let them do whatever. He fears Allah because He is the supreme power. It is only Him and His mercy Mu'min needs to walk on this path to get the double portion of the mercy, to be one with the Imam, to start flying and start having the didar of Imam, not only Zahiri, Batini and Nurani. So here I would end my session. If anyone has any question, why do we hear that Iblis was made from fire? What does it mean? Why does it sound different from last class about jinn? Yes. So I would say, Mubarakbad to you. It sounds like that you are listening very carefully, reflecting very carefully, because I did edit. So it may have sound a little bit different. Today I've gone further because I saw another question talking more in detail about jinn. So jinn are made of fire. Yes, you have heard it correct. And let me tell you, when a moment starts walking on this path, all people around that moment, let it be family members, friends, extended family members, they might start calling them names. Oh, now आप तो भगत हो गए हैं, आपको तो जिक्र करना है, आपके पास तो टाइम ही नहीं है, आप तो पार्टीज में आते ही नहीं हैं, शादी नहीं अटेंड करते हैं, बहुत बड़े भगत बन गए हैं. Comments like that you hear. Now you don't have time to join our this party or that party. You're very busy with your zikr or your classes, and now you have to study. At this age, you're studying. Really? You're picking up books? Are you crazy? Comments like that, which can break a person, a moment. But strong moment will stay strong and will not listen or pay attention to these comments. But it can happen that this moment starts working very hard, and people around her or him start seeing the difference. This moment does not want to listen to any gibbat, no gossip. If they hear a gossip, they walk away. They are not interested in fun with you because you sit down and gossip about people. And they start seeing this change. They start seeing this light on their face, this contentment, this happiness, being carefree, being in joy. What happens? Shaitan is always there. He's going to create fitna in those people. And what will happen? They'll become jealous of that moment. They'll start creating problems. So it's the fire is actually the fire, the jealousy of the people around you. Those who create problems for you when you're walking on this path. Let us take example of our Prophet. Prophet Muhammad, when he announced that he is given this Nabuwa, he is the Prophet of Allah, when he invited his family, his own uncle, he laughed at him. What can you do? And when Prophet Muhammad announced that he needs a supporter who is going to help him in his mission, it was only Maula Ali who helped him. So it's an example that people around moments become very jealous, creating problems, and then that jealousy or that hindrances or those difficulties actually becomes the fire. This is not fire like physical fire, burning fire. This is called cool fire, Thandi Aag. And this Thandi Aag is actually also mentioned in Quran in context of Hazrat Ibrahim. When Hazrat Ibrahim was talking about one God, all the people became against him and they complained about him to the king there. And what he did, that king said that he talks about bad about our gods. So people said, we need to burn him in fire. So of course they build this fire and they throw Ibrahim in it. When Ibrahim is in the fire, Jibril is with him. And Jibril says, do you want me to cool down this fire? And Ibrahim says no, because he wasn't burning. Why? It was already a cool fire. For people, it was a fire. They could see a fire. But for Ibrahim, it was Thandi Aag. It was cool fire. Meaning that when a Mu'min Salik is going through all these difficulties, people are against him. And this moment continues to do zikr, do ibadat, and attend classes, what happens? This fire becomes the blessing for this moment, and it starts working for this fire, makes him or her a jinn. Now, what is jinn? Remember that. Jinn is the one who has the ability to fly. So this moment is Salik in his personal world starts flying. Mola starts bestowing his mercy. So that is what, when you say jinn is made of fire, that's what it means. It is hard to keep family balance. How do you conquer that? It is true, it is very hard. It is very difficult, and life of a Mormon is not free of tests. We seek help from Allah. Take 1 hour a day, 1 day at a time, and continue to do what you are expected to do. And Mola will send help. And if there are tests, Mormon knows that all these tests are to help him elevate. How are jinn made, or how can one become a jinn or an angel? I think I have answered that now. I have gone into great detail to explain that.
NIAMAT, I had a question for you. When you are in Bangi, or in positive state, thinking positive, not for like 5 minutes, I'm talking more long time. There is a chemical change that happens in the body, which is most of the time it's cold, but it's a good cold. As you progress in spirituality, what other chemical changes happen?
Very good question, Yasmin.
NIAMAT, can I reply for her chemical changes she was asking?
Yeah.
So, like we have the endocrine system, 7 energy centers in the body, and when you meditate, like I'm giving the scientific answer what she asked about the chemical changes. So when you are meditating, there is a hormone called serotonin and the dopamine. These are the happy hormones, you can say them. So the neurotransmitter, the neurons in your brain, they starts activating, and that give you the sense of joy and happiness and blissful state and stuff like that. So the Agna chakra, like the 7th energy center, which we call Bhamar Gufa, third eye center, and that is related to the pineal gland, which is in the endocrine system, that really opens up, and then you go to the pituitary gland. So yes, this is what it is happens. Dopamine and serotonin hormones are released when you are meditating. So I hope she understood that chemical change.
Subhanallah, beautiful answer. Now
Yeah.
I see a very long question by iPad, so let me read that. Please explain us how the soul of the person who began the ilmi journey but could not be able to merge with the Imam's Noor during his Hayati. So will he complete his remaining journey? That person's remaining ilmi journey will be continued in another person's soul who is the one step higher than the deceased person. How does it happen, and in which person's soul that deceased person's soul will be? Will he be in the person alive in the physical world, or deceased person's soul will continue his journey in the other person's soul in the spiritual world? Subhanallah, it's not a one question, it's a session, whole session. But you are on right track, iPad. You are on right track. I'm sure you have heard some lectures in relation to this, otherwise you would not be able to say things what you're saying. In brief, I would say that in Quran, Allah does talk about known heavens, Shanasa Jannat, that when a moment dies, he is taken to the known heavens, meaning that moment knows where he is going. Whereas when we take the example of those who have not been doing good deeds, our peers have said in Ginan, Til bhar tulana, khane ki dhar chalana. In that, one of the verses, Jivro sarsriye torao se, meaning that the soul is so stuck to the physical body. It's not willing to come out. So it's kind of pulled. The soul is being pulled away from the body. Very painful experience. So depending on what deeds have been done with knowledge, that soul is going to go to the next level. And surely the journey of knowledge does not end at physical life. Remember, we just saw this circle. Everybody has to complete the circle. The question is how long one is going to take. A human life is 80 to 100 years. Is that enough for a person? For Adam it was. We see the example of Adam. But for others, it may take 50,000 years. And I see that somebody referred 57:13, in which Allah says, on that day, the hypocrite men and hypocrite women will say to those who believed, wait for us, that we may acquire some of your light. Meaning that those hypocrites will be able to see those mu'minins. And those hypocrites who did not give time for knowledge or good deeds or whatever they did not fulfill the purpose of their life, which was to recognize the Imam. So what happens, they are now able to see, because their batini senses are open, they are not in physical body, in physical world. So they say to the Mu'mineen, please share your light with us. You knew us in the world, please give us your light. And Mu'min will say, no, go back to what place you had left the light. Having said that, the Mu'min is on the journey of going higher. So yes, that Mu'min who passes but has not completed the journey will go into the higher ranking Mu'min to continue his journey in his heavens to be one with the Imam eventually. So I will take your leave, and if you have more questions, please don't hesitate. You can text so I can incorporate in my next lecture. And thank you so much, friends. Yari Madad. Yari Madad.
Yari Madad NIAMAT Appa.
Maulatan.
Yeah,
Thank you so much.
Yari Madad.
yeah,